The EFF has condemned an online advertisement by health and lifestyle retailer Clicks as a regression to the apartheid era that discriminated against black people as abnormal. Yesterday, Clicks caused social media outrage after images of a black woman's hair was labeled dry and damaged, while the image of the hair of a white woman was labeled as fine and flat. Now, to further take this conversation further, we're joined via Zoom by Sonto Pooe. Sonto is the founder of Native Hair. Sonto, first let's get your reaction to the way black hair was portrayed and depicted by Clicks.
Hi, thank you for having me. I think it was a shocker. At first, I thought it was a joke. But really it was quite disappointing. And I know the Clicks group itself may not be responsible. It's probably an employee, but it was disappointing that something like that came out. And especially, I think, in the work that we've done to try and celebrate natural looks and blackness and how we are born. So it was really a disappointment, and you could clearly see that with the outrage that happened on social media.
You talk about the work that you have done. What do you think needs to be done to change the ideas of beauty and make it more inclusive?
I think representation, this for me really highlighted the importance of representation in the workplace, representation in the retail space. We see that because my suspicion is that something like this would not have come out. It would have been stopped before it was even loaded online if there was someone of color who kind of saw and proofed that kind of a concept. So for me, it really highlights the importance of representation. I mean, we are in South Africa, and so is people that look like me or people of color predominantly. So I think it really is critical for companies, not just Clicks, but all companies, all retail companies, to be able to speak to their consumer. I think we've spoken enough, and I'm glad this sort of came out, and it really has started once again, a discussion on just normalizing our people and their looks. There is absolutely nothing wrong in African hair as it was portrayed in the ad.
How do we address some negative stereotypes associated with black hair?
I think continuing to talk about it. Education is an important factor. I mean, I think it's important if you are, you supplying a certain target market, to learn as much as you can about it. This seems to me like it came out of a place of ignorance. And really, I mean, there's so much resources out there, and companies like Native Child, I think, should continue their work of educating, because in fact, if not most of our work is in educating and normalizing people of color and their looks, their skin tone, their hair texture, that there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It is very healthy. Let's continue these conversations on and offline, in the boardroom and off the boardroom, and to come to a place where we understand. You have to understand your target market. I can't get around that. And I think the most damaging part about not addressing these issues is making people live up to a standard that's impossible. You cannot compare an apple to an orange. Those are just two different things. You can't compare the two. And so I think it's important for company execs to make sure that their own employees are fully educated out there, and to make sure that things like this don't happen.
So a conversation has come up encouraging black people to form their own retail spaces that will fully understand who they are. Just give us a sense of your work, and as you go about encouraging black women to wear their crowns with pride, how have you been interacting with the retail space? Is the South African retail space creating a place of accepting black women and their hair as they are?
To be honest, there definitely has been a change and improvement. And now with the topic being with Clicks, I mean, those people who are buying from Clicks, who are obviously very disappointed at the moment, have seen that Clicks has really done some work in opening up their shelf space to companies like Native Child, to be able to cater to better for the needs of your average South Africans. So I definitely see that there's definitely has been a shift in terms of retail, but clearly when it comes to the messaging, the advertising, there's still some work to be done there. It's sad because the messaging for me is what's kind of for me and everybody else actually, I think is what's disturbing, because it's making women, children, whatever, men live up to a standard that actually doesn't exist. And therefore I think advertisers need to still do the work and make sure that they have diversity within their teams. And if you have a target market like a black person or a colored person or whatever, any person of color, is that you have representation within those boardroom meetings when they're sitting trying to plan out their strategies. And so in terms of them having made room for black businesses, I see that because I'm in one of the bigger retailers at the moment, I'm meaning Native Child. And so there is some sort of progress happening, but it looks like we still have some distance to go when we see things like this happening.
Let's thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.
Sonto Pooe is works in the space of black woman hair care.